Kenneth! Tenet, starring John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, Elizabeth Debicki, and Kenneth Branagh, directed by Christopher Nolan.
All I have for you is a word. Tenet. It'll open the right doors, some of the wrong ones too.
Armed with only the word Tenet and fighting for the survival of the entire world, a man journeys through a twilight world of international espionage on a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time. This complex spy thriller will turn many average moviegoers off due to its sometimes slow and confusing pacing, but it's the biggest release of the year so far, although that's not really saying much in 2020. Now, the reason this film has enormous excitement going in, it can best be explained by the director's track record. The Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, Dunkirk. Christopher Nolan is one of those directors that can make just about anything he wants and his fans will be there opening day. A modern-day Steven Spielberg.
You're not shooting the bullet, you're catching it.
The script for this film was under lock and key, and most cast members were not even allowed to read anything other than the scenes they were in. Nolan is not a big fan of green screens, and this film only contains practical effects, no green screens. That's an impressive achievement, as most big-budget action movies abuse green screens. It could never be made without them. Cast members had to learn how to do certain scenes backwards, in reverse, even learning how to speak backwards, and that was really impressive. One time I took a scene from Sesame Street, and I played it backwards, right? Then I learned how to say it. Then recorded me saying it backwards, reversed it, and heard the results. It was a crazy waste of time. Here, fishy, 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 he-sha, fishy, free. Fishy, 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 foy. Here, oh, fishy, fishy, fishy. Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington, plays the lead in this film, and he does a nice job considering this was such a huge film. Although he doesn't look a whole lot like his father, you can hear Denzel's voice in certain mannerisms in several moments of the film. John David is best known for his breakout performance in Spike Lee's Black Klansman. Hey, John David! Thanks for doing this interview, man. So, was it hard to do everything ass backwards in this movie?
Oh, man, honestly, yeah, it has its challenges.
So I'm guessing this director didn't really know what the hell he was doing. I mean, why wouldn't you just do things in regular and then play them backwards? I mean, does the director even know how to do that?
Have you ever seen any of his films?
I saw he did one of those Batman movies, but I can't watch Ben Affleck anymore since he got sober. It took all the fun out of his performances.
It's really, I think it's his greatest work.
And he talks like this: I'm the Batman, Batman,
Good.
Batman.
And I can hear his voice too. That's good.
Nolan cast Robert Pattinson in the film, who's currently wrapping up his biggest role to date as Bruce Wayne in The Batman. The Twilight actor's come a long way and continues to show his impressive range, although he seems to show up in different places throughout this film without much explanation.
That part is a little dramatic.
Hey, what's up, Robbie, Patty, and the girl from the movie? So what did you think of Ben Affleck as Batman? I mean, he talks like this. I'm Batman. Batman.
Genius.
Absolutely.
Nolan is a huge James Bond fan, and with Tenet you can see how he was influenced by the genre, especially Kenneth Branagh's Dr. Evil-type villainous performance. Unfortunately, his motivations for being such a dick were not abundantly clear. With a production budget of $205 million, the film will need to perform well as theaters are opening based on the enormous excitement on this release. Hopefully it proves to the industry that mass audiences are ready to give back to the box office. Would you mind if I spoke to you in a British accent? You lovely people seem like you're from that Downtown Abbey normal show.
Yes, definitely.
Now, I entered the theater with an understanding that my thinking cap would need to be turned up to 10, perhaps 11, to understand this film. I really wanted to love it as I'm a big fan of the director, but for me, I had very little to love about this story. Do either one of you have any clue what this movie is about? Because I got bloody lost in the plot, if I'm being honest.
Although it obviously has its complexities, which Nolan's films do, as someone who doesn't have a science mind at all.
But the script must have been confusing to read.
Shit, did I not read it correctly?
I read it many times.
See, for me, when I talk like this, I feel like the smartest bloke in England. How does it feel to make a movie that nobody understands, but they pretend it's brilliant?
I think it's a good feeling. I mean, I like doing movies where you're kind of, you're hopefully trying to stupefy people.
Yeah, you stupefied the shit out of me. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm a pretty simple guy. I want to be entertained. I'm usually not looking to work this hard to understand a film. Basically, you won't find me at too many operas or art museums. Not that I don't appreciate the effort, I'm just probably not cultured or even smart enough to see all the minor details and subtleties in some of the work. Well, that's the kindest thing I can really say about Tenet. I pretty much hated this film. There was a single scene that blew me away, this one. And when you see it in the film, you'll know why. But the rest of it was all so boring and difficult to understand. Do you both get to wear the Batman mask when you're making the film, or is that just for the Batman movie? I mean, is it hard to do mask acting?
Mask acting.
Yeah, mask acting. Like this, you silly goose. You know, when I did the opening to this review, I worked on a little backwards punch to my face, and I thought it came out cool, so here it is as I shot it. Then, for the sake of this review, I played it in reverse, and the punch came out so dull, and all the fun was removed from it. That's a huge problem with Tenet. When you see a fight scene in reverse, the punches and kicks are weird and offer no excitement. You can't really follow the pattern of action, and what would be an exciting moment in the film, it just fails, and it falls flat. Christopher, is it true you paid Ben Affleck $3 million to turn down Tenet? Also, you could avoid all his Batman jokes on the set. Is that true?
It was a little more expensive than that.
The dialogue in the film was also very difficult to follow. They sometimes wear masks, and that affected the clarity of the words, and the audience will struggle to hear key plot points. So John David looks nothing like his father. Is that fair to say?
It's fair enough to say. He's also an athlete. He was a professional American football player.
Tell me about it. I chose him in my fantasy football league, and he shit the bed, man. I lost the whole season because of that guy. Nolan made a huge mistake many years ago with The Dark Knight Rises, using a mask on the character Bane. After early screenings of the film, he had to redo the sound because everyone was complaining that they couldn't understand what Bane was saying.
No one cared who I was until I put on the mask. No one cared who I was till I put on the mask.
So you'd think he'd learn his lesson, maybe not muffle voices behind a mask. The soundtrack in this film was also distracting as it was overly loud and felt too much like it was lifted from The Dark Knight. Now, the cast was fine, but nobody really stood out to me. Looking at Robert Pattinson, I couldn't help but fear what I was seeing on screen, knowing he was going to be the next Batman. I just don't see Bruce Wayne in those eyes. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I've never found him very engaging on screen.
To do what I do, I need some idea of the threat we face.
I heard that you saw Robbie Patty dropping a deuce, and then you said Tenet, and it went back in.
Well, I could talk to you about what I saw.
Please do. He dropped the kids off at the pool and then picked them up later, right?
This is bonkers. This is craziness. You really have to love your job, man.
Nolan shit the bed with this film, easily his worst movie in his career that hasn't really presented an audience with a bad film. His storytelling was awful, the pacing was slow, and I found the editing of dialogue rapid-paced and rushed to the point where the actors looked awful at times. There wasn't even enough time to let his dialogue breathe. The Dark Knight is one of my favorite films of all time, but if you could only watch one Christopher Nolan movie, check out Memento. That's a movie very similar to this, but done perfectly. It certainly proves that you don't need $200 million to make a good movie, but you all knew that. So on a scale from 1 to 10, and this is sad for me to say, I'm giving Tenet a 3. It's a film I will absolutely never watch again. I will never care to sit for 2.5 hours watching something that doesn't entertain me. It's as simple as that.
I like simple pleasures, like butter in my ass, lollipops in my mouth. That's just me.
Now before we exit, I'd like to show you this short video. See, 30 years ago I had a public access show called Check It Out. For you kids, that's basically YouTube 30 years ago, and I got this idea to do something interesting in reverse. I gathered my friends and had them running with me in a parking lot, each to do something unique that would take advantage of reverse playback. Drinking and spitting out liquid, popping a balloon, smashing eggs against your head, eating potato chips, spraying silly string, all done in reverse. I mean, perhaps Christopher Nolan saw this, and it inspired him to create his own time-twisting reversal film. We may never know. For now, Gator out. Watch for new movie reviews and documentary series. Don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell so you know when new reviews arrive.